So from January 1st to March 31st, we as in all the businesses in Three Rivers and, like I said, Visalia, put out this card. It's a thank you card, which if you are any form of first responder, whether that's law enforcement, like tonight, peace officer, EMS, EMT, firefighter, armed forces, past or present, you can go to one of the issuing areas and get yourself one of these cards, and it entitles you and your entire party who's with you to a 20% discount, for the most part, to services, lodging, food, whatever. And that's because Three Rivers is a very volunteer-oriented town. At last count, somewhere on the order of 70 to 80% of the town has at one time been a first responder. So, so we really, really believe and thank the families for allowing the other person in the family to be a first responder, because it's a burden not on the individual, but on the entire family. So thank you very much. And if you don't have one of these cards, see Leah. She can get you one of these cards. So this month, in February, we're honoring law enforcement. And to actually take us, to explain a little bit about that, let me introduce Leah.
Okay. You don't really need me. Okay. Well, Brandon Alisio is a very special person for our area. We understand that the regional Department of Fish and Wildlife is really undermanned at the moment. Should be like 6 people working our area, and it's down to about 3 people. Imagine that. And it's much bigger than Tulare County. They can explain when they're up here telling you the whole area they cover. But the kinds of things that happen are, he's been involved in like search and rescue, where somebody falls in the river in the park and gets washed down into town. That's something that Brandon's helped with. Bears coming into contact with humans, because you know they don't know the boundaries and they come in and out, right? Anytime somebody tries to divert the river, or, you know, cut down trees or change the course of the river, whether they know that it's not a good thing or not, we have to keep an eye on that. The river always wins anyway, you know, so. Other things would be like marijuana grow sites, the illegal ones, you know, up in the park or in the way up high where they figure we can't find them. So he'll be involved in that too. Because remember, when they grow those plants, they need water, they use pesticides, you know, they divert our water, they poison our water. So we don't want any of that stuff happening. So he's involved in more than that, but I figured that would hit home with this group. Okay, so with that introduction, Brandon, are you going to come up? Come up and say hi. And who's going to read your bio, introduce you officially?
I don't know. I guess.
Who's got that? Who's got that bio? There he is. All right.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight for this special occasion to honor Wildlife Officer Brandon Alisio. Leah covered some of it, but I'll kind of go over some of the other bio. First of all, my name is Doug Barnhart. I'm the patrol lieutenant for Tulare County, Kings County, and part of Fresno County. So like Leah mentioned, when we're fully staffed, we have myself and 5 officers that cover all of Tulare, all of Kings, and part of Western Fresno. We're down right now, so staffing's down, so we're doing our best to cover that area with fewer bodies. I won't hesitate to say that my group of officers in this area is the best in the state. I won't hesitate to say that. I would put my officers against any other officers in the state. These guys are very diligent, very thorough in protecting the wildlife resources in this area. And they take that very seriously. They take protecting the public safety and protecting the citizens of Tulare County, Kings County, and Fresno County very seriously as well. For those that aren't aware, just a little bit about our agency. So we're Department of Fish and Wildlife, so obviously our focus is fishing and hunting, environmental law. That's mainly our primary focus, but we do everything. We go to a regular police academy, so we do penal code, vehicle code, health and safety codes. We do everything that any other officer can do and basically enforce all the laws of the state throughout the state. Wildlife Officer Brandon Alisio is, like I said, I have the best officers in the state, and he's one of them. So these guys make me proud. They make me look good every day, going out working hard, making cases, and I don't have to do a whole lot. I let these guys do all the work, and they just make me look good every day. Brandon was born in Yuma, Arizona, then moved out at a young age to California. He attended school in Visalia, graduated from Golden West. He also went to College Sequoias in Visalia, so he's got a lot of ties here locally. His wife, Candace, is here tonight with us, and his daughter, Sierra. And they have another one on the way very, very soon. Brandon started working for our department in 2008 as a scientific aide. He was doing things like surveys of local deer herds, waterfowl counts. And then in 2012, he attended our Fish and Wildlife Academy and graduated from our academy in 2012. He started his career in San Ynez Valley in Santa Barbara County, and then he transferred here in 2015. So he's been here in this back home in this area, protecting the wildlife resources here and keeping the people safe here in Tulare County since 2015. Brandon's area is basically kind of northeast Tulare County. We kind of have assigned areas, although we kind of fill and float around, and especially being shorthanded, we just kind of go where we need to go. But Brandon's area on paper at least is northeast Tulare County, which includes cities like Wood Lake, Exeter, Farmersville, and of course Three Rivers. So this is his kind of assigned beat area. This is where he spends most of his time at day in, day out. As Leah mentioned, he's investigated crimes involving wildlife poaching, theft of property, illegal stream bed alterations. He's participated in numerous marijuana eradication and interdiction details, including a lot of details right here in the Three Rivers area. And as Leah mentioned, a lot of times people wonder why we're involved in marijuana grows. And like Leah mentioned, it's the environmental concerns primarily. They put pesticides and dangerous chemicals right in the waterway. Water flows downhill, as we know, downstream, and so it just poisons the waterway, gets into the water table that all of us have to eventually drink, gets into our water supply. So they do a lot of cutting trees down, just a lot of extensive environmental damage that goes along with the marijuana grows, not to mention all the water they're taking. It takes a lot of water to grow marijuana, and so they're especially in these times of drought, we can ill afford for people to be stealing water like that to grow illicit marijuana grows, and Brandon's taken that very serious. He's responded to calls of injured wildlife. As we know, Sierra Drive here is a pretty high-speed thoroughfare through town. So we get those calls where bear, deer, mountain lions have been hit by cars. Brandon often responds to those, even in the middle of the night, to take care of business and do what he has to do to get the roadway clear and keep people safe. Bear issues. Three Rivers probably has it just as bad, if not worse, than anywhere else in Tulare County. There's a lot of bears in this area, and as we know, they can be a nuisance. Especially when you get people feeding them or doing things that attract the bears in that we don't want. And so Brandon's worked hard in working on some of those issues, and again, keeping the wildlife safe and keeping the people safe at the same time. And I can tell you right now, Brandon thoroughly enjoys being a wildlife officer with our department. He takes protecting the state's wildlife resources and protecting and serving the residents of this county very seriously. So, thank you.
Okay.
He gets to speak in his own defense, or?
Do you want to tell us something, Brandon?
Yeah, sure. I have a
Special
little-
about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta speak.
All right.
All right. Hello, I want to thank the community of Three Rivers for honoring me with this award. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my family for raising me to become the man I am today. My loving wife who supports me every step of the way. My beautiful daughter for encouraging me to catch the men who make bad choices. And since this is going to go on record for future, to my son Hunter, can't wait to meet you. And to the community, I want to say thank you. Oftentimes in our line of work, the victim of the crime has no voice, other than the members of the community who are bold enough to stand up against it. And thank you.
Okay. Give her a camera and she's gone.
That was awesome. So what was the search and rescue deal with somebody who fell in the river, and what was
Yeah.
that? Tell us about that.
I think I helped Frick out, and they had it was craziness last year with how high the river flow was.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Well,
just-
what happened? Tell us what happened.
Yeah, a gal fell in, and I was just in the area. I didn't actually directly assist, but tried to help find her, and unfortunately, I believe she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
She did, but yeah, a gentleman, I guess a Navy guy, had jumped in and saved her, so
Oh.
tried to save her.
Try to. Oh, boy. That one really hits home. The bear episodes, how often do you have to deal with those?
Well, luckily there was plenty of water last summer, so we didn't really have too many calls for bears. But every once in a while, there's something that goes on and have to deal with.
During the peak of the drought, it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Yes,
And it's,
yeah.
we're right back into drought again, it looks like.
So it was like a couple of years
Let
ago.
them kind of be on their own. When people start trying to interact with them, feed them, get close to them, take pictures up close to them, that's when bears can become aggressive. But black bears traditionally are not as aggressive as a brown bear.
I have another question.
Yes.
I have one client and he's a bear photographer and stuff, and he told me about a program where you can walk along the river and you can warn the people up in the park about. Do they still have that volunteer program where you could go and talk to them about how to deal with the bears and how not to feed them?
I'm not aware of one through our agency, but the Park Service might have something,
Okay.
but I'm not aware of anything through our agency.
I have a bear story. We had some plum trees growing along our fence, and it was the elephant heart plum, so it's this big, fat, juicy plum. And when the bears discovered it, they wanted it. And there was one that would take my fence apart one board at a time, very slowly, quietly, reach over, grab a branch, and do, So I called and asked for help. And whoever answered the phone eventually gave me a permit to shoot the bear, but said, try everything else. And I did. Our contractor said, what about some little shock so they'll have a bad, memory and they'll never come back? Because what you need to give them is a bad experience so they won't come back. So all along the fence, just at the height where the bear would be reaching over, we set up this little hot wire. And then shot water at about the level of where the face would be. So he'd lean over like this. And it wasn't that hot a wire, but the combination was just enough. Whoa! Bear never came back. It worked.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. So, yes.
My name is Ann Marks, and I'm part of the volunteer unit out of Visalia for the Tulare County Sheriff's Office. And I have colleagues here, gentleman, Don Thompson, I know volunteers up here with the same Three Rivers unit. Leah is involved, and I'm sure there's unnamed people, but I haven't met yet who do so. I know Brandon Alisio because I had a bear shot, killed on my property up in Badger, and he responded to that. It's interesting what you could learn just in brief conversations. I started before I took a breath. He must have, when he came on the scene, he must have said at least 3 times, "This is such a shame." And that just spoke to me of his personality, his nature, and I appreciated that. I also called dispatch, or I guess I called his number, that's what it was. I texted his number and he didn't get it. It was the middle of the night when someone was taking pot shots, trying to poach. There's big guns and then little firearms chasing up the hill. Talked to his supervisor like the next day, and he said, again, gave me an insight into Brandon's personality and you spoke of his diligence. And his supervisor said he was so disappointed not to have gotten that text. And I'm sure he would have loved to have been on site and grabbed those ne'er-do-wells. Lastly, he also, when he first approached, appeared about the bear that had been killed on my property. I was asking about his work, and he was talking about his schedule and how he appreciated the flexibility, and most importantly, he said, was because he could make the t-ball games of his young daughter.
Oh,
On behalf of all of us.
Oh, and you know, while you're up, why don't all the sheriff's volunteers and patrols stand up? We've had a lot of you guys here. Come on, let's recognize you. Come on, Donnie, let's stand up too. All right. All right. Okay. Now, let's see, what would be the best thing?
let's start with that one.
Okay, this one first. Okay.
Oh,
You
one more
mentioned,
question.
you mentioned earlier that you're undermanned or understaffed by about half. Is it a budget issue or what's the reason for that?
Good question.
Salary and recruitment, probably, or
You don't
Two
get the
biggest things.
recruits?
Yeah, I mean, there's different reasons. I mean, there's some people want to go different parts of the state, so it just kind of depends on. Sometimes our recruits that are in the academy, maybe they're from Southern California or Northern California, so they prefer to go back there, and so they don't name this area as one of their places they really want to go. And so we've been trying to recruit out of this area, trying to get people that want to work here and stay here. But because the population base is higher in some of the larger areas like Los Angeles, LA Basin, or San Francisco or Sacramento area, we get a lot more applicants out of those areas. And therefore those people usually want to go back to those areas where they're from.
So some areas are understaffed and some areas
Are fully staffed, right?
Yes.
So most of your training, you said you went to COS for your training, most of your training is done at COS?
no, I went to college there. I got my college
All right,
degree
so
from
what do
CU.
you train for this particular job?
It's in Chico, at a police academy in Chico.
Our agency runs our own academy, so it's currently at Butte College up in Chico. They run a basic police academy there too for general law enforcement, and then we run our own academy there, kind of side by side, kind of concurrent with their academy. So we share facilities with them basically, and so that's where most of our people start out there. We do hire laterals, so meaning somebody that's already a law enforcement officer with another agency, maybe a sheriff's department or a police department that wants to do something different. So we do take laterals that come from another agency. And we send them through, I'm not sure the exact length, about 4 weeks, a little mini academy for those people because they've already been a law enforcement officer, they're already trained. So instead of having to go through an entire 7-month long academy, they go in maybe a month just to kind of learn fishing game law and learn some of our tactics and procedures and that kind of thing. So we hire both. We hire people that have never been in law enforcement before, and they go through about a 7 to 8 month academy. And then after the academy's over, they have to go do some field training, which is pretty standard with all agencies before they are on their own. And we do try to recruit, like I said, from other agencies to get guys that have already been doing law enforcement work that already know the law enforcement job, and it's just kind of getting them up to speed on what exactly we do. But that is also done up in Chico, the Lateral Academy.
Have you contacted
agencies like Visalia Unified School District and done presentations on Career Day for them?
Not so much at Visalia, but we do it all over. A lot of different school districts have us come speak to the kids, especially kind of 7th, 8th grade, and then maybe in high school.
Yeah, I'm
Not so
thinking
much
more high
younger,
school,
But
yeah.
we do it kind of, those that are kind of thinking more about college, getting ready to go to college,
Mhm.
because we do require, we're one of the few agencies, I don't know how many for sure, but there's not very many agencies that require the education that we require. We require 60 units of college to be hired,
Wow.
so essentially a 2-year degree.
Right.
So we do like to speak to high schools.
Or at
those that are-
COS
Those that are
Yeah.
preparing to go to college, so they can prep themselves and kind of plan for the future, decide what they want to do in college.
Should go to Woodlake High School. Yeah. A lot of kids there are college bound, and if they're gonna get their degree and they have an interest in the natural surroundings, and we
We've been,
might get some recruits there.
we've been doing a lot of veterans events. We do twice a year. We go to Lemoore Naval Air Station. They do a recruitment event at Lemoore Naval Air Station. We go out there twice a year in the spring and the fall, looking to hire those that are about ready to discharge from the military.
Senator
and-
Videx,
Senator
Senator, we do
yeah.
that every year.
There's
Tell them they
several-
can live in Three Rivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's several other veteran, I'm gonna be doing one this spring in Tulare. It's a job fair geared towards veterans of the armed forces. And we do several of those. Kalinga, Tulare, there's one in Hanford usually. So we try to hit all those different job fairs, looking to recruit those kind of qualified people.
We know a veteran in San Diego who's looking to retire in September, and she's into the environment, so that's her background.
We'll
So
tell her to
it's
call
out
you.
there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's start with the right. So, Tulare County Board of
Stand between them,
Supervisors.
please.
Oh, in between.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I'm not an actor, I don't know where to stand.
I act like I know what I'm
To
doing.
make little marks. Okay, Tulare County Supervisor certificate for Brandon. Isn't that beautiful? For your
Absolutely.
service.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. And then, every year, there is a gift certificate, and for years, it's been our bed and breakfast. But we are retiring. So we thought, by the end of April, we will be retired, my husband and I, with the B&B. So we thought, okay, that's too soon for them to try to use their gift certificate. We better find somebody else. And the first lodging place we asked was the Gateway, Glenn and Susan McIntyre. And I said, you know, if you like, you can just do the firefighters, and we can ask another in to do the law enforcement, another one to do the March event for the veterans. And they said, no, we'll do all three of them. So they did. So here we go. The Gateway. You've got a free night stay, signed by Susan McIntyre. There we go. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So you can enjoy that. And then somebody in Three Rivers creates this unique piece of art every time, but we never know what it's going to be. Now look at this. That gourd, that's a lot of work. And this is a school teacher, so it's not like she has a lot of free time. This is Jamie Beck, second grade school teacher, Three Rivers Union School. So she's got your name on it and all these beads around it, shined it up. And then I think the best part is in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
She
All
got
the
the
thank you
students,
cards.
yes, right. Like your beautiful card.
Yeah.
They made cards. Oh, this one says, "Have a good party." Isn't that cute? And they all got it right. Congratulations on being selected as the law enforcement honoree. So we're imagining, okay, that must have been on the chalkboard.
All right, yeah.
Because the rest. Mr. Brandon Alisio, thanks for keeping us safe from NOAA. And see the pictures? We think that's a bear
Okay.
and sequoia trees. There's a lot of little creatures in there that look like they're probably bears. Oh, you're gonna have fun in here.
Yeah.
And Jamie did one too. And who's this one? Mr. Brandon Alisio from Hayden. And they're definitely a sequoia tree. Okay.
All right.
All right. They keep saying, thank you for keeping us safe. And then they draw their pictures of the river, the bears, the sequoia trees. There you go.
Thank you
Isn't that
very much.
beautiful? And don't sit down yet. We want to take a picture of you with this.
Okay.
1, 2. It's not like I'm a professional. One more.
Awesome. Thank you. That's awesome. All right. Can we have one? Oh, I got one. Smile. Cool. Cheese. Thank you.